Hello everyone. After having released several grass fix mods for settlements like this, where basically the gorgeous green mods, grass mods, and trees and stuff tend to make the buildings overgrown. So I've taken on a lot of fixing that. I also discovered a way that you can actually decorate your settlements by placing trees without actually needing any external mods that let you place trees as settlement objects. You on PC can actually do this with console commands. So once again, as I've shown in some of my other videos for like precise positioning of things, positioning a shower in a settlement, mirrors and things like that for some of my other mods, you can also position trees and pretty much anything that you know the reference for. You can also use the console to get the reference for it. And I'm going to show you how to do that right now. So let's say, for example, this settlement's got some trees and stuff around it, but this area out here looks like really open back there by that car. It's just completely bare. Too much blue sky, not broken up enough, not artistically pleasing. I'm going to be a snob about it. So I'm going to go over here and say, you know, I want to plop something down here to kind of break up the skyline.
Are there any meteorologists about? I hope it does not rain.
There you go, photobombing my video again. Thank you. Let me think. Let's plop one in this mound here, right in front of it. And I want to put one of those great big, huge elm trees like the one in the middle of the circle at Sanctuary. So the way you figure out what that thing is you use the help command, type in what you're looking for, elm. In this case, because it's a single word, you don't need to use quotes. But if you had multiple words or a phrase, you'd have to do quote, type your thing in, end quote, and then it would search for that exact thing. 4 is a form restriction. It just tells the help command how to return the results. And you can also add additional criteria. For example, I know that the elm tree is a static object, so I'm just going to do stat. That's the abbreviation for static object. And poof! I only have a result of maybe 4 or 5 things instead of 40 or 50 that have elm in it because I limited the criteria to that. You'll notice now there's 3 results for elm tree. These are different types of elm trees. One is going to be the post-apocalypse style tree. I think another one is a fall style tree with different color foliage on it. And a third one is maybe a healthier type of elm tree. So I'm just going to throw the first one in here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to get, let's see here, I'm going to get where I want it to be. I'm going to throw it like right on the corner here near this rock. Between this rock and this this car. That'll work. So I might, yep, I'm standing where I want it to be. Let's go for here. And I'm going to say, player, place at me. And then the reference for the first elm tree, D9CA7. Now, because I'm standing here, it's probably going to throw the angle and crap off, so it won't look quite right. Yeah, it's all jacked up. And, you know, honestly, you may want a fallen over elm tree. It depends on what kind of decor you're going to do. But I want this straight up and down. You'll notice, too, that the nav mesh for the tree is included when you place an object like that. She's just walking right up there. Thank you. You've redeemed your photobomb by helping me test something important to know about this. So when you place a new object like that, it's going to have collision. I want to stand it up straight. So now that I got it there, I'm going to get a little closer in case there's like fog or something here. I'm going to click on it. That's the in-game reference for that object. And I'm going to set the angles for X, Y, and Z to 0. Boom. Now it's standing straight up. And it actually looks like, based on where that root's going, it looks like it positioned it perfectly. But let's say you wanted to bring it down a little bit. I'm going to get the position for it first. And it's about 19, it's almost about 2000. So let's say I want to move it down 100. So I'm going to say set pos Z 1900. And you'll notice sometimes when you move a static object, you get texture shimmering. Just set its position twice or set its angle twice in a row. And because there's no change, it kind of like it resets the shaders rendering it. So I've moved it down a little bit. It's not quite It's not quite as tall as another elm tree, but let's see. Maybe I don't want it to be that big. Maybe I'd like for it to be a little smaller. You can also, in addition to setting position and setting angles and modding position and modding angles, you can set scale. So let's say I want to make this tree about 75% of its normal size. 0.75. Hey, you. You're supposed to be doing that. It's defying me. Maybe I can't shrink it. Maybe I can only make it bigger. You cannot scale it. All right, maybe I can't do that on this particular one. There are other objects that you can, like, for example, Curie. Now she's huge. Boom. Okay, that'll work. Okay, so I couldn't scale it, unfortunately. I thought that might work. Some things, I guess, you can scale, some things you cannot. Nope, can't do that either. So I guess static objects really are static, even where their scale is concerned. You can pop them in, you can position them, but you can't scale them up or down, larger or smaller. So basically what you see is what you get. But that'll work. It's kind of sitting out there in the middle of nowhere, though. And it has nothing around it. So it's just like sitting there, standing out like a sore thumb. Let's say maybe I want to kind of make it, give it a couple of friends here. So another thing that you can do is get in a position. I'm going to get like right up on this tree because I want it to be like right here. And I'm going to face the direction I want it to be. And I'm going to place a static collection for scenery. And the abbreviation for that is SCOL. There's also an INI file that tells the game whether or not you want it to use static collections for scenery. And that is use default SCO collections, I think, 0 or 1. Anyway, that's how this works. So I'm going to say help tree for SCOL. And that'll give me a bunch of static collection of trees. You have trees or tree cluster. And I'm just going to throw, let's throw a tree cluster in here. Let's go for like 46E64. What did I say? 46E64? Boom. You see I moved, and boom, there's a couple trees there. Just a little thing. It doesn't look like it jacked that angle up too much, but I'm going to go up here, going to select it, and I'm going to go back up to my thing where I set the angles at 0. There we go. I kind of adjusted the rotation, but it adjusted it. I don't like it that way, so I'm just going to rotate it. Let's set it to 180. But now I've lost the little tree inside the trunk. Let's do 90. Not quite right. Go 90 in the opposite direction, 270. There we go. Okay, cool. Works for me. Actually, let's take about 45 degrees off of that. So I'm going to say like 230. There we go. That'll work. So now we got a little bit of a tree sticking out on either side of the big elm. It kind of looks like it belongs there. It kind of looks like, you know, as forests do, it fought competitively to get light from the canopy with this other tree, which lost. And it just kind of, you know, gives it a little bit more of belonging in the world kind of feel to it. You can do the same things with bushes and shrubs and anything that you might want to drop. You just have to use the help command in the console, place it, set its angle and position, and you can adjust it that way. Pretty much everything in the vanilla game, if it has a static object or a static collection, you can look it up if you know what it's called. You can limit the search by its type, whether you're looking at a stat, an SCOL, or something like that. And you can plop them in place. So even things that are not part of your settlement objects, or not just part of your normal building, you can create them in the world. When you save your game, it will save that object. And you can actually snazz them up and make them look pretty nice that way. And you can see it kind of breaks up the horizon now a little bit better in that area. It doesn't look, just like wide open sky. There's something there. So anyway, I hope that that's been helpful to you guys. You can do this with the elm tree, the great big one. You can do it with generic trees and the tree clusters like you saw. I think you can, I think maple is the other tree. I can't remember. I think it's maple. Let's find out. Yep, maple tree. And I'm pretty sure that if you have like Far Harbor, there's pine trees or firs in here. So let's see if we can find that. Yep, pine trees, red pine. Let's try for fir. Nope, campfire. Okay, so you have pine trees. And basically, if you know the names of the other tree types, the other item types, the object type, you can use the help command to find it. You can place it at you, you can set its angle, you can set its position, and you can use it to decorate. Now, if you don't want to place it at you, you can drop an object in build mode. It's good to use something like, just a chunk of floor, a good sized chunk of floor, so that it's easy for you to roughly guesstimate what area it's going to take up. So you could drop it here, for example, and then since I still have that object selected, FF07F81, I can move those trees over here. I can move that elm tree over here. I just need to find out what this floor is. It's 21cc, FF00 prefix, so 21cc. We're going to go over here. And let's say I don't like this maple tree, or excuse me, this elm tree over here. I want it over by FF0021cc. So I'm going to click on it and say move to FF0021cc. Boom. Now it's over there where I plop that floor down. And because that floor is nice and huge, that's what she said, you can go over here and scrap it.
It feels like we've been traveling together forever. That is a good thing.
Thank you, Curie. This is why I love Curie as a companion. She's one of the few that are actually positive and glad to be with you. Instead of the others who constantly complain about you giving them shit in their inventory that they need. Oh my god, what am I, your pack mule? No, I'm giving you stuff to survive. Anyway, got off on a little bit of a rage tangent there. You can go in here, you can select the tree now, and... Whoops. I want to get pause Z, not set pause Z. This is 2152. I need to move it down just a little bit for the roots to be in there, so I'm going to say 2100. Boom. Now it's in the ground. It looks like it belongs. The roots aren't just hanging there, standing out, and it's where I told it to put when I moved it over to where that plank is. So there's a couple ways that you can decorate. There's a couple ways you can put things in position. You can either place them at yourself. You can place them and then move them to another object. You can fine-tune them with the mod pause X, Y, Z. You can fine-tune them with the set angle X, Y, and Z. You could make a tree that's fallen onto a damaged house somewhere. If you like that kind of immersive atmosphere where, the wasteland's not perfect. There's a lot you can do with console commands once you know how to get the most out of them. So I hope this little tutorial and a couple things that I demonstrated for you guys has been helpful, even though the scaling didn't work. And I hope you enjoyed it. And as always, what do we want them to do, Curie? We want them to shoot many super mutants in the face.